All right, golfers. So today I want to discuss a little bit about internal versus external shoulder rotation and some creative drills you can do to start improving not only the movement of the trail arm, but also the shaft angle coming down. So for those of you who don't know what they are, an internal movement pattern would be when you see the elbow retract behind the body. So there's a separation of the elbows in transition, and you'll tend to see the shaft angle steepen in the downswing. So that looks like this. So you can see that when I push this elbow back, I am internally rotating this shoulder, and that tends to put a big steepening effect on the shaft. So you see that right there. Versus the external pattern, which would be the exact opposite. So you'll tend to see this elbow actually dive more down and forward this way. So this would be more of an external pattern. That tends to actually help lay the shaft down. So if you want to see the visual of the difference between them, this would be an internal movement pattern with the trail shoulder. This would be an external. So internal shoulder rotation, shaft stands up. External shoulder rotation, shaft shallows out. Now, if you're struggling to get this feel, there's always a bunch of drills you can do. The most popular one would be taking something like an impact ball or a little toy ball that you can get at a local store, put it between your forearms right underneath the elbow joints, and when you're in transition, feel as though you're squeezing the elbows together, so you're retaining the structure of the arms, and what that's going to allow you to do is keep the shoulder in external rotation and get the shaft to shallow out behind you. If I get into an internal pattern, the elbows will separate and the ball will fall, and you'll see the shaft tend to stand up. So that's just one little drill to do. Another one, which is actually a little more creative, is I get golfers to do mirror work in front of a mirror, but from a face-on visual. And I'm explaining to you why this helps. A lot of times golfers struggle to get the feel even with the impact ball, so what I'll get them to do is stand here and load to the top. Now if I get into an internal pattern, you'll tend to see not only a separation of the elbows, but you'll see the trail arm actually get above the lead side from this face-on visual. So I am in massive amounts of internal rotation here, the shaft stands up, but you see that this arm gets above this one from this camera angle. So what I'll get them to do is say, okay, well, get to the top of your backswing now, and instead I want you to feel as though the trail elbow is actually going to get underneath the lead arm from this visual. So do a bunch of slow pump rehearsals like this. And every single time I'm doing this, I'm giving them a visual reference point they can use as feedback, and they get into great deals of external rotation, so all of a sudden the shaft angle gets really shallow, right? So I'm coming here and I'm trying to feel this guy versus the golfer who is going to do this, which is an internal steepening movement. So again, from a face-on visual, you can get to the top. This would be a great deal of internal rotation. You see this arm gets above the other one, the shaft angle gets very vertical, versus doing that same mirror work, but getting the trail elbow to fall underneath the lead arm. All of a sudden the shaft angle gets a little more shallow. You get into better external rotation. So there's many different drills you can do. One is more creative, but it's really what's best for the golfer who's doing the swing change.